Hi, everyone. Megan here from Romance by the Book with the lovely Marielle.
Hello.
And today's special guest is our Book of the Month author for March, April Asher. We read her book, Not the Witch You Wed, which you can see there behind her. Fun cover. It was very much fun. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
We had an excellent time reading a little DM group too. We had some fun chats about all of the characters. This is a new subgenre for you, and a new world. We have some questions.
Yeah, for sure.
My first one.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead. You paused.
I think that leads well into my first question, which was, what made you decide to include all of the paranormal creatures that you did in this world? And do you have a favorite?
Oh gosh, I don't know that I have a favorite. I love witches and shifters are like my go-to, but I love all of them because I love vampires. And when I was going through the motions of kind of putting together Not the Witch You Wed, I'm like, well, I knew Violet was a witch. I knew it was a shifter, but then I was like, well, why does it have to just be a witch and a shifter book?
Right.
And then I just kind of threw in all the kind of different books, paranormal books that I like to read, you know what I mean? And so I just that's when I started throwing in there the sex demons and the vampires and angels and everything. I was just like, all right, let's just put all of it in there.
That's awesome.
Well, I guess I had a question too that was similar, but Violet's friend group seems like a group of paranormal misfits a little bit, because we've got Violet, who's the witch who doesn't magic. We've got her angel friend who's like a guardian angel, but who keeps getting fired. He can't guard anybody because he keeps getting fired, which I am very curious about, why he can't keep his guardian jobs. Questions. And then she also has a bestie who's a succubus, but she's technically a virgin, which I found very funny too. And I was just like, okay, so all these guys, how did they find their way to each other? Is it because they were all a little bit different?
Yeah, I like to think so. I think different likes to migrate to different, and Violet, like I said, she's a magicless witch from a very prominent witch family, so she was very much that kind of, even though she loves her family and she was a big part of her family, she also kind of shies away from that supernatural community. And she is kind of like the misfit, people in the media and everything, they labeled her the magicless Maxwell, or the dud Maxwell. And so then I figured, all right, well, it would make sense that maybe she would kind of migrate to a sex demon who has never had sex, but who's a very sexual being, what I mean? And a guardian angel who has tattoos and is grumpy and like you said, gets fired from his job, and you'll find out in book 3. But but yeah, I just think a group of misfits, and that's what I went for.
I have to warn you that I have made up a backstory for this angel, and in my head, I've decided that he just wants to let people do what they want to do, and he's getting fired because he's just well, who was I to stop them? So anyway, yeah. I'm sorry.
That's funny.
April's all wrong, but still, I'm having fun with my backstory.
Hey, things can change. I just started writing that one, so.
Well, I guess that sort of answers my question then about if we know which sister is going to be book 2.
So Rose is book 2.
Okay.
So you get a snippet in the epilogue in the back. Mm-hmm. So there's a new character that comes in book 2, Damien, who is the grumpy half demon veterinarian. And he was super fun to write. But I think the two of them pair really well together, because she's not a grumpy person. She's that responsible, likes to do things for other people, at a detriment to herself. And he's grumpy and he does not like people, and that's why he's a veterinarian.
He didn't seem like a fully grumpy to me in the epilogue.
Full grump. You'll see more of his grump, yeah.
But he did seem like he had that I don't know, like the devil in his eye. Like
bad
I was
boy,
like, this
yes.
boy is going to cause trouble. Like he immediately, I thought, had this inkling of like, oh, does this make you uncomfortable? And anyway, I'm excited.
Yeah, it's that
But,
reformed bad boy. Well,
I'll take it.
maybe not so
Maybe not so reformed.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to say thank you for writing a book about veterinarian, because there's a book out there called like The Vixen and the Vet, maybe something like that. And every time I see that title, I think like, ooh, veterinarian. And then it's not. It's like an army vet. Yes. And I like, that's not the only one, but it's the main, like the one that pops out in my head, because Vixen, I'm like, yeah, it's a fox but no. So I'm very happy to have a book that's about a vet.
An actual
veterinarian. Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wish fulfillment. I guess. Did you have another question, or do you want me to?
Yeah. So I'm curious how it felt for you writing this like lighthearted story versus the romantic suspense that you were writing before.
Oh God, I needed it. So like, in 2019, I finished Fatal Deception, which was the last book in the Steel Ops series. And I mean, it was done. Like, I'm pretty sure we had galleys. It was like done. And I was at that spot where it was time to think about what to do next. And I started a proposal for a new romantic suspense series. And I kind of had it ready to go for proposal time, but then COVID hit. And I was not getting that satisfaction. Like, you know, I'm a nurse. I've been working more the last 2 years than I ever had in my 20 years of nursing career. And I needed something else. Like I wasn't getting like the warm, fuzzy feelings from a romantic suspense. And I needed something that was not based in any kind of reality whatsoever. And literally sat on my couch one night after working, and I was like, what's the furthest from reality that I can get right now? And I was like, oh, True Blood, but all supernaturals, and like more snark and maybe a little less blood. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I kind of went from there. And then like I pitched the idea to my agent, and I just told her, I was like, I need this, please. She's like, all right, write some pages and see what happens. And the proposal for it was the fastest I had ever written. So I knew it was,
so you were onto something.
Yeah, I knew it. Like I was
like, scratching an itch, I'm sure, because when you're working in the hospital, I know you weren't like getting excited about like high stakes drama and like death.
Exactly.
And you're like,
I wanted low stakes, corny puns. I wanted all of it.
Well, it was a super fun read. I had a special place. I always love old lady characters.
Oh, Grandma Edie. I know.
From the beginning, I was like, this grandma is a schemer. But she ends up being like really, even though she's not like doesn't have a ton of like screen time or page time, she's still like really essential to like the goings on even before the plot starts. I feel like she probably is like nudging things. What made you, or like how did you come up with that with her as a character?
I always enjoy books that have like that older matronly, figurehead in there. And then just to have her be like a really, sassy witch, you know what I mean? And I did have to say, I did kind of model her after my grandma from when she was alive. Unfortunately, she passed a long time ago, but she was a spitfire. Like she didn't hold back, and she was very calculated. Like she might not tell you what she wanted you to do, but she always had this little way to kind of steer you in the right direction and kind of let you figure it for yourself.
But she always popped up too. It was like right when she was needed.
Yeah.
Like, and I was waiting for you to call me, but I decided to just come anyway.
Yeah.
Well, at the one time where she's like, I know whenever anything happens,
Yeah.
what made you think? I was like, oh, okay. She just
Like, I
chooses which are
decide
the
when to show
most,
up.
yeah.
Yeah, and isn't that true of most like moms and grandma? Like they just
Mhm.
know, you know. I could never get away with anything when I was a teenager.
I don't know if I tried very hard, but yeah. I think it's interesting to see too, like the difference between Edie, Violet's grandma, and then her mother, who
Mhm.
seems like, I guess, much more interested in like the
Appearances.
trappings of the
Status.
position or
Yes.
whatever, and the status. And so it ends up being like not very supportive of Violet, whereas her grandma almost like on the surface seems like she takes more of a backseat, but in the end feels like a much more positive force in her life. Did you
Mhm.
did you start out having that in mind, or did it just kind of end up that way as you were
It just
writing?
yeah, it just kind of ended up like that. Initially I wasn't gonna have the mom be such a like a big, like negative focus. And then whenever she was on the page, she just kind of ended up being someone I was like, "Ah, gosh darn this mom, you know what I mean? But she
Yeah.
stayed there. My mom is not like that. I'm just saying, did not get inspiration from
She's
that,
not
but
modeled after your own.
not modeled after my mom. My mom is wonderful. But yeah, I don't know exactly why. It just kind of popped up. I feel like you have a supportive influence and then one that's maybe not quite so supportive. But you will see some changes in Mommy Dearest through the next couple books. So
Oh, cool. That'll be fun because I think I mean, it's got to be a weird, like character wise, it's got to be a weird position to be in where like your mom is like head honcho and then your kids are like poised to also be
Mhm.
like very very important people, and then you're just like in the middle
In the
there
middle.
where you don't really have, like she's important by proxy, I guess, but not really in her own.
For
She
herself.
doesn't have a thing. She's not part of a
Right.
triad. She's not going to be.
Right.
So I did think that it seemed believable to me that like even without meaning to, she might be kind of an interesting personality. But yeah, her spots in the book, I was like,
Yeah, I know. Me
When she
too.
laughed at Violet when she told her that she was dating Link, I was like, ouch. That's like
Yeah.
a knife to the heart. Like, wow. Yeah.
I was livid.
Yeah.
I was mad at her. I was mad at her sisters. I was like, why is nobody
Why
stopping
is
this?
nobody
I was
saying
so
anything?
upset.
Yeah.
Well, and it's really funny. And I had changed like some of those scenes like so many times because and my agent will tell me too, even my romantic suspense, like sometimes when I get to that point where it's supposed to be like, break their heart and rip them to pieces and I would always put jokes and make it like more lighthearted so like nobody's mad at the other person, and she'd be like, April, you have to like
They have to
stomp
fight
them
here.
into the dirt here, okay? Like, but I don't want to make them upset. It just goes against my nature. But yeah, so yeah, those ones were the hard ones because yeah, I do not like the Mommy Dearest there. And
Yeah, I'll be very interested to see how she reacts to the other two girls when they start going through
yeah,
their stories.
everybody changes so much in their books. Yeah.
So I guess you have already finished writing Rose then if you're starting to write book 3.
It is with my editor as we
Okay.
speak. I've done one round of edits on it, so we're getting ready to do a second. So,
Okay.
and actually that should be
Wow.
coming shortly. So
Yay.
I know, I'm excited.
I'm excited to
I
see
was
what they do
very
with the
like the
covers.
second that did you had I mean, I feel like this book is going to be so different as far as like the premise and the tropes and everything, but I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, I'm
I
excited.
really like that cover on book 1, so I'm excited to see what they do with the covers for the rest too.
I know. I had to put in like my, my wish list. So I'm crossing my fingers.
Will you do a like a cover reveal?
I probably, yeah, I'll probably do something of that nature this time around.
Cool.
So I have yet to see designs yet, but it should be soon.
Nice. Keep an eye out for that. I guess Well, I think you already asked this question. Sorry. I had written down about how did you decide how extensive the paranormal community was going to be in the
Okay.
series, but you already asked it. So I think that's all the ones I had.
Well, I guess I can ask you what I ask everyone, which is, what is your favorite trope to read?
That's not fair because I love not all of them. I love most of them. I mean, obviously, I think probably one of my all-time favorites is Enemies to Lovers, just because right there in the title, it's automatic conflict, and it's going to be fun because they're going to like be trying to not want to stab each other in the eye, but they want to, kiss and throw each other on the bed, So that's one of my favorites. I love Second Chance, but I like low angst Second Chance. Like I don't like when it's a second chance for like, a horrible reason, like you're something like that. But and fake relationship, like those are my top 3.
Okay.
I will say the only one that I don't care for, maybe I shouldn't say it, but the only one I don't care for is the Secret Baby. Like I can't. Unless it's for a really, 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 really good reason.
It's definitely not my favorite, but there's been several that have worked for me. And
see, maybe that's why I
has
have
to be
not
a good
found
enough reason. Yeah. Or it has to be like impossible for her to find him or something. Like I have to, because if it's not a good enough reason, then I start off not liking her.
Yes, exactly. That's my problem.
Off on the wrong foot with a heroine and a romance. So I'm like, I have to believe like that it's a good reason why she wouldn't want to say anything.
Yeah. Megan doesn't like lies either. So I think that
probably no. Yeah, I don't like when they're lying to each other, especially if only one of them is doing it. If they're both doing it, it's a little bit less problematic for me. But yeah. But yeah, I mean, and then one of my favorite books of all time is like Second Chance, which is usually a hit or miss for me, and A Secret Baby. So I mean, I contain multitudes. What can I say?
I have a hard time picking both what I love most and what I like hate most, because I find that there's always an exception to the rule. There's always like, I hate this except for this one time. And then but I do love like an instructional kissing.
Yeah.
And like we're only doing this so you can learn. And then, no feelings will be involved for sure.
The romance tutor, right?
I do like that. There's more, but we're not gonna get into it. My question that I normally ask people is, if we were a fly on the wall when you were in the middle of your writing process, what would we see?
You'd see my hair like all and wearing pajamas and probably questioning if I showered in the last 2 days. No, pretty much like I sit on my left side of the couch. Like I have a perfectly good office.
Is that where you are now?
Yes.
In your office?
Yeah.
Very nice.
It's mostly used for storage, honestly. But I don't know. Even when everybody's home, I kind of like to be downstairs and sitting on the couch. And then that way, I mean, my kids are older now, but it was definitely a lot more what's the word I'm looking for? A necessity when my kids were younger, because I was right there and they could interrupt me, Now they know not to interrupt me unless there's like arterial blood flow. But
very specific.
Yes. Oh yeah, it has to be.
When your mom's a nurse, you get specific guidelines for when
you get specific guidelines.
Emergency.
Yeah.
Is it oozing? Not good enough.
Yeah. I mean, it's a steady little ooze, or no, it has to be pulsating out of your body. At least when I'm on deadline.
Yeah.
They see that's the benefit of having a 14 and a 16-year-old. And then sometimes I hear I'm gonna say something to mom, and she's like, "No, you're not bleeding."
That's when you know you've done your job right.
It's like,
success.
So
they
proud.
got it.
Yes. Finally, it only took how many years.
Awesome.
Yeah, but pretty much I'm decked out in hoodies and sweatshirts and sitting on my couch and drinking way too much Snapple because I constantly have to get up and go to the bathroom in every 5 minutes. But that's pretty much it. It's definitely not glamorous.
Awesome. Well, on your Instagram, I think sometimes you'll put you do reels that are really kind of fun that make me think that I have a view into your writing.
You think they're funny. My children don't think they're funny.
Oh. Well, they're now your target audience.
Fair enough.
They're very embarrassed by the fact that their mom's on TikTok. Let me just say.
You have a pen name, it's fine.
I know. I was like, I'll never link you to me. It's all good.
That's hilarious.
That is funny.
You need to just link them to you and see.
Well, and Instagram is one of those things where I never Facebook is like the necessary evil, you know what I mean? And Instagram was one that I found that I really liked a lot more than I thought I ever would, because I'm not one to like constantly put my face out there. So it's been like, it's been forcing me to do it, which is good, And then even with reels, I was like, I remember when I made my first reel, I was like, oh no, this is so stupid. And they're
like, as you're filming it, you're like, is this cringy? Is this okay? Yeah.
Like, I think I made one, a bookstagrammer once posted a little snippet of like one of their favorite scenes. I want to say it was one of the openings in the very beginning with the snow, the falling, and she throws a snowball, or I think it was. Anyway, but it struck an idea, and I'm like, there's that Instagram filter with like the female and the male, oh gosh, what is it when you blink or something like that?
Oh yeah, then it'll like give you a beard, and then you blink, and it gives you eyelashes, and then
I'm telling you, this was my procrastination effort, like in full force. I was supposed to be doing edits, and I wasn't. So then I started playing with that filter, and I literally enacted that scene that the bookstagrammer put in. And so like, you had April, oh, it was bad. It was
Did you post it anyway?
Oh, I posted it anyway because I figured, what the hell? Yeah.
I mean, I've posted, I think like 2 reels that I'm in, and maybe 2 more that were just like pictures or things. Whatever. But the one that I did one where I was supposed to be like trying this like dance thing.
Oh,
I mean, it's a super like fun song, but I don't know what I did. The song didn't like start over. It just kept, and so I was like completely off cue, and my dog's in the background like giving me side eye, like literally like this. And I was like, whatever, I'm posting it. I don't care. I spent too much time trying to film this.
Yeah, that's it exactly. And now sometimes my kids will poke fun if they see like the tripod thing sitting out. They're like, oh, mom was making reels again. But now most of the ones that I can do really quickly, I've noticed, because I just don't have the time to like spend, I can't even tell you how long I spent trying to do that opening scene. Like, oh my gosh. So, but yeah. So now I do like the really short, quick ones, like the pointing and
yeah.
I can do that. I don't dance.
Well,
I don't
I'm like, if you go back and look at mine, it's like, no. I mean, I don't know if the dancing has any merit, but definitely it's not synchronized to anything.
Oh my gosh. So, I guess if you would like to tell everybody where they can find you out on the interwebs.
So like I said, I'm on Instagram and reluctantly on TikTok and Facebook, and they're all Novels by April. So it's all one handle. And then my website is aprilhuntbooks.com. And I'm trying to think, where am I? Am I anywhere else? I think that's it.
Well, and on the day that everyone is seeing this, you will be on our Instagram page doing your takeover for your author of the month. So everybody can look forward to that. And we thank you so much. This was so fun. We really enjoyed the book, and we're definitely looking forward to the rest of the sisters.
Thank you. Oh, and if somebody hasn't gotten their like signed copies or yet, I have partnered with one of my local indies, One More Page Books. They're one of the ones that did the pre-order campaign. But I'm gonna be offering like signed and personalized books through them all year long.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And you said One Page.
One More Page. Yep.
One More Page.
Alexandria. Yeah.
Cool. If I might be able to put a link in the link in our bio. Yeah. So that people can access it pretty easily. All right.
Okay, everyone, thank you so much. We'll see you next month.
See you then.
Bye. Thank you.